The envelope sat on my desk with "Happy 30th Birthday" written across it. Inside wasn't a card. It was a termination letter. And the person who put it there, she was smiling when she did it. 3 years later, that same woman stood in front of a bankruptcy judge because of what I built next. My name is Kai, and I need you to understand something about me first. I wasn't some corporate rebel or troublemaker. For 6 years, I showed up at Pinnacle Solutions every single morning at 7:45 a.m., 15 minutes early every day. I worked in software development, building custom automation systems for manufacturing companies. The kind of work nobody notices until something breaks. Then suddenly, I was the most important person in the building. But on March 14th, my 30th birthday, everything changed. And it started with a woman named Victoria Hastings. Victoria became our department head 8 months before my birthday. She came from a Fortune 500 company, and she made sure everyone knew it within the first 5 minutes of meeting her. "I don't do mediocrity," she announced during her first team meeting, her heels clicking against the conference room floor. "If you can't keep up with my standards, there's the door." I remember thinking it was just typical executive posturing. You know, the kind of speech managers give to establish dominance on day one. I was wrong. Within 2 months, she'd fired 3 people. Not for performance issues, for things like leaving 6 minutes early or questioning her decisions in meetings. She called it maintaining excellence. The rest of us called it creating fear. But here's the thing. I was safe. Or so I thought. My client satisfaction scores were the highest in the department. I'd just closed a deal with Benton Manufacturing worth $340,000. I'd even trained 2 junior developers who were now thriving. The morning of my birthday, I came in to find a small gift bag on my desk from Liam, my closest colleague. "Happy birthday, man," he said, grinning. 30, you're officially old now." I laughed. Says the guy who's 32. "Yeah, but I've accepted my fate. You're still in denial." At 10:30 a.m., Victoria's assistant, Jennifer, appeared at my cubicle. "Victoria wants to see you. Conference room B." My stomach tightened, but I pushed the feeling away. Probably just a project update, right? Conference room B was the smallest one. The one without windows. The one they used for disciplinary meetings. When I walked in, Victoria sat at the head of the table. Her laptop was closed. Her hands were folded. And there was that envelope, cream-colored, my name written across it in her precise handwriting. "Close the door, Kai." I did. "Sit down." I sat. She slid the envelope across the table. The handwriting was almost mocking now that I was close enough to read it. "Happy 30th birthday, Kai." "Open it," she said. My hands shook as I tore the envelope open. Inside was a single sheet of company letterhead termination notice. Effective immediately. Reason: performance issues and attitude concerns. I read it 3 times before the words actually registered. Performance issues? My voice came out sharper than I intended. I just brought in a $340,000 contract 2 weeks ago. Victoria's expression didn't change. That contract was secured based on relationships I built with Benton's leadership team. You simply executed paperwork. That's not true. I designed their entire automation system from scratch. I spent 4 months. Your attitude right now is exactly why we're having this conversation. She leaned forward. You don't take feedback well, Kai. You argue, you push back. And frankly, your technical skills are adequate at best. Adequate. 6 years of 60-hour weeks. 6 years of saving projects nobody else wanted to touch. 6 years of training new hires and covering for absent team members. Adequate. I have 2 weeks' notice in my contract, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. We're waiving that. You'll receive 2 weeks' severance pay. Security will escort you out in 20 minutes. Leave your laptop, phone, and access card with Jennifer. She stood up and walked toward the door, then paused. Oh, and Kai, happy birthday. The door clicked shut behind her. 20 minutes. That's how long I had to pack up 6 years of my life. Liam appeared at my desk as I was clearing out my drawer. What happened? Jennifer said you're leaving? Fired. The word tasted like copper in my mouth. What? That's insane. Did you talk to HR? Victoria is HR's golden child. There's no point. A security guard I'd chatted with hundreds of times about basketball stood 5 feet away, avoiding eye contact. His presence made it official. I wasn't an employee anymore. I was a liability being removed. People pretended not to stare as I walked toward the elevator, but I could feel every eye on me. The box of personal items felt heavier with each step. In the parking garage, I sat in my car for 40 minutes before I could bring myself to turn the key. It was 11:47 a.m. on my 30th birthday, and I had no job, no plan, and no idea what came next. But sitting there, something shifted inside me. Anger. Pure, crystallized anger. Not the explosive kind that burns out quickly. The cold kind. The calculating kind. The kind that builds empires. That night, I couldn't sleep. At 2 a.m., I was sitting at my kitchen table with my laptop, scrolling through LinkedIn out of habit more than anything else. That's when I saw it. A post from Victoria published 7 hours earlier. Sometimes leadership means making difficult decisions for the good of the team. Excited to announce that Pinnacle Solutions is expanding our automation division. We're committed to excellence, and that means maintaining only the highest caliber of talent. She'd posted it the same day she fired me on my birthday. The comments were full of congratulations from people who had no idea what maintaining talent actually meant. Then I noticed something in the comments, a response from someone named Gregory Rothstein, CEO of a company called Meridian Tech. Congratulations, Victoria. We should discuss a partnership. Your automation work is impressive. I clicked on Meridian Tech's profile. Mid-sized manufacturing company, based in Ohio, annual revenue around $80 million, and they were looking for automation solutions. Something clicked in my brain. I opened a new document and started typing. Not a resume, not a cover letter, a business plan. The next morning, I called every client I'd ever worked with at Pinnacle. Not to badmouth the company, that would have been unprofessional and probably illegal given my severance agreement. No, I called to ask questions. What problems are you still facing? What didn't we solve for you? If you could design the perfect automation system, what would it do? I made 47 calls over 3 days. 31 people answered. 26 of them had complaints about Pinnacle's service, things I'd tried to fix internally, but Victoria had shut down because they weren't revenue priorities. One conversation changed everything. Raymond Torres from Caldwell Industries said, "Honestly, Kai, we loved working with you, but your company charges enterprise prices for mid-tier support. If someone offered your quality at a reasonable price with actual customer service, they'd dominate the market." That sentence became my entire strategy. I named my company Apex Automation Systems. I know, not the most creative name, but it tested well with focus groups I ran on Reddit and LinkedIn. I used my severance pay and $12,000 in savings to build a minimum viable product, a streamlined automation platform that did exactly what Pinnacle's did, but faster, cleaner, and 40% cheaper. I worked 16-hour days for 2 months straight. My apartment became my office. My couch became my bed most nights because I'd fall asleep coding. But here's what Victoria didn't know. I wasn't just a good developer. I was the developer who'd built 70% of Pinnacle's core system. I knew every flaw, every inefficiency, every shortcut they'd taken to save money, and I was about to use all of that knowledge. 4 months after my birthday, I landed my first client, Benton Manufacturing. Yes, that Benton Manufacturing, the $340,000 contract Victoria claimed credit for. Turns out, my contact there, an operations director named Patricia, had been furious when she found out I'd been fired. "You were the only reason we stayed with Pinnacle," she told me over coffee. "When we heard you were gone, we started looking for alternatives." I pitched her Apex Automation Systems, showed her what I'd built, explained my pricing model. She signed a $280,000 contract on the spot. Not quite as big as the Pinnacle deal, but it was mine, all mine. Can I ask you something? Patricia said as we wrapped up. Does Victoria know you're doing this? Not yet, I replied. But she will. Over the next 18 months, something beautiful happened. I signed 6 more of Pinnacle's former clients. Each one had the same story. They'd worked with me personally, felt ignored after I left, and jumped at the chance to work with me again. My revenue hit $1.8 million in year 1. Apex Automation Systems grew to 11 employees, including Liam, who quit Pinnacle to become my head of development. Best decision I ever made, he said during our 6-month company celebration. Working for you is like working for Pinnacle if Pinnacle actually cared about people. But the real turning point came when Gregory Rothstein, remember him from Victoria's LinkedIn post, reached out to me directly. I've been hearing impressive things about Apex, he said during our call. Meridian Tech is looking to implement automation across 14 facilities. We were talking to Pinnacle Solutions, but their pricing is astronomical and their customer service is, let's say, lacking. I sent him a proposal that afternoon. 2 weeks later, he signed a $2.3 million contract, the single biggest deal of my career. And it was the contract Victoria had been chasing for 8 months. I heard through the industry grapevine that Pinnacle was struggling. Client retention had dropped 34%. 2 major contracts had fallen through the automation division Victoria had been so excited about was hemorrhaging money. Then, on a Tuesday morning, my assistant told me someone from Pinnacle Solutions wanted to schedule a meeting with Victoria Hastings. I almost laughed. Almost. Schedule it for Friday, 2 p.m., my office. When she walked into my conference room, the one with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, I saw something I'd never seen before. Fear. Thank you for meeting with me, Kai. Her voice was measured, careful. I'll get straight to the point. Pinnacle is interested in acquiring Apex Automation Systems. I let the silence hang there for a moment. You want to buy my company. We're prepared to make a very generous offer. $7 million plus a leadership position for you in our organization. A leadership position. I leaned back in my chair. Would that be above or below you in the hierarchy? Her jaw tightened. That would be something we'd discuss. Let me ask you something, Victoria. Do you remember what you said to me in conference room B, the one without windows? Kai, this is business. You called my work adequate. You took credit for my contracts, and you fired me on my birthday because you could. I stood up. Now your company is failing because you drove out everyone who actually knew how to do the work, and you want me to save you. We're not failing. We're restructuring. You've lost 9 clients in 16 months. 8 of them came to me. The Meridian Tech deal you were chasing? Mine now? Benton Manufacturing? Mine? Caldwell Industries? Also mine. Her face went pale. This meeting is over, I said. Jennifer will show you out. Victoria stood, her hands shaking slightly. You're making a mistake. No, I said. You made the mistake 2 years ago on my 30th birthday when you decided I was disposable. 6 months after that meeting, Pinnacle Solutions filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The automation division was dissolved. Victoria's LinkedIn profile no longer listed her as employed. Did I feel guilty? Sometimes. Late at night, when I thought about the people at Pinnacle who lost their jobs, people who'd done nothing wrong except work for the wrong company. But then I remembered something my grandfather told me when I was young. Success isn't about being better than someone else. It's about being better than you used to be. Apex Automation Systems now has 34 employees. We just opened a second office. And last month, we signed an $8 million contract with a multinational corporation. I'm not telling you this story because I want you to seek revenge on everyone who's wronged you. I'm telling you this because sometimes the best response to someone saying you're not good enough is proving them spectacularly wrong. My name is Kai, and this is what happens when you turn your worst day into your greatest motivation. So here's my question for you. Has someone ever underestimated you? And what did you do about it? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to hear more stories about turning failures into success, hit that subscribe button. Because trust me, this is just the beginning.